Hey guys, Marshall from Limited Resources, and we're joining another Gatecrash queue here. What we're going to do is, I'm going to be forcing an archetype today. I'm going to force Simic. It's my favorite archetype, and it's the one I've been winning the most with of late. And so I'm going to see if we can jam that through. Now, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'm not really one in general to try to force stuff, but I kind of want to here just because I want to show you guys the archetype and how sweet it can be. This pack is pretty bad for Simic. I mean, really what we want are the 1-drops and or anything with Evolve. And this pack just has straight up nothing with Evolve and no good green creatures and no good blue creatures either. So not a great pack for it. The best cards, I think, are Stolen Identity, Pit, and Pit Fight. There's also Night of Obligation and Gift of Orzhova. Those are both sweet too. Stolen Identity doesn't really go in the deck, but it is a powerful card, and it's pretty cool too. Pit Fight does go in the deck, so I think I'm going to take the Pit Fight here and see if we can't kind of angle over in that direction. If we can't, we can't. It happens. Yeah, it looks like we're probably not going to be able to, as this pack has, again, just nothing. Again, literally no Evolve creatures, which is really annoying, but also just like, yeah, one green creature and one pretty decent in the deck blue creature, but it's just not what you want to be taking here. Like, it's just not the priority. It's not where you want to be. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that. I think I'm just going to take Killing Glare here, as it's the best card. It's the best card in the pack. So I'm just going to take it and see where we go from there. Not a ton here either. There is a Slaughterhorn, which is a good one. Mind-Eye Drake is okay, but I'm going to take Slaughterhorn. It goes with Pit Fight fine if we end up in Gruul. And hey, you never know. Maybe these first few packs were just dry for Simic, and it starts to come around. You know, one thing about Simic is that a lot of the cards aren't contested, like Shamble Shark, for example. Like, other decks don't want Shamble Shark. They have a hard time casting it, and they're not really rewarded for it, and it's really a turn 2 play. So it's not like, you know, some Gruul deck's going to be like, well, let's splash for blue for Shamble Shark because when I hit my blue mana on turn 7, that thing's going to be sweet. It's just like, not really worth it. So you'll pick those up. But some of the cards are contested. A lot of the green ones, Croconura is one that you'll see Gruul go after pretty often. Cloudfin Raptor does get taken by Dimir sometimes. They just need those early flyers. You know, so there is some competition at some of the stuff, but some of it's not. Nimbus Swimmer will come around really late if nobody else is in Simic, that kind of thing. So let's see what we can pick up here. All right, well, things are looking up a little bit in kind of an interesting way, though. So there's a Croconura, and there's also a Mugging here. There's an Ivy Lane Denizen, a Madcap Scales, and another Mind-Eye Drake, too. I think I'm going to take the Croconura. I would like to be Simic, as I mentioned earlier, and Croconura is a great, great card in the Simic deck. Mugging is a better card. It's definitely a better card, like, in the abstract. But I think it's relatively close, and if I can stay here, then I'd like to. And here we go, a Shamble Shark. Now, there's also a Miming Slime, an Ivy Lane Denizen, and a Metropolis Sprite that are on our radar, and a Sage's Row Denizen, I should also mention. But Shamble Shark is the easy pick. Anything that says Evolve is great, and anything lower on the curve is better. So that's what we want, and we're just going to take it. We get nothing here, but this pack is just really bad. Like, there's just really no playables in this pack anyway. I mean, Shadow Slice is okay, and Aerial Maneuver is okay. You can play a Spell Rupture, you can play a Last Thoughts, but none of these cards are very good. We're going to take Spell Rupture because I do want one of those in a Simic deck, and if we end up being able to make this Simic thing happen, then we'll be happy we had it. We're still, I wouldn't say that we're open, but, you know, we're still base green here. Pit Fight, Croconura, and Slaughterhorn are our best cards. If we can be Simic, then Shamble Shark is going to be one of the best cards too, but if we can't, then we're going to have to make that adjustment. Not a lot here either. I'm going to take Death Cult Rogue, just as 1 blue, 2/2 unblockable, essentially. It's okay. Again, it's not really what we want to be doing, but it's okay. I'm going to take Leyline Phantom. Basically because it's pretty good in Simic, and that's what I want to be. These packs have been lame, though. There hasn't been really anything good. I don't know, kind of no matter what guild you're in. I guess if you're in Dimir, there's been a couple of Death's Approaches that have gone a little late, but I mean, that card's not great anyway. All right, well, I'm going to pick up this Agoraphobia here as it's playable. It's not amazing, but it's playable. And we see more just garbage packs. So, yeah, this could be one of those drafts where, like, nobody really has a good deck. That happens sometimes, and you just have to stretch for playables. And the key when that happens is just to note that, so that, you know, you don't feel awful when you're going to the building your deck and you're like, oh, I have to run a crappy card like this or something. It's like, you know, there were no good cards. It's not like, you know, through the course of this draft we were going like, oh man, if we were in Boros, you know, really late Sky Knight Legionnaire there, like, we're not seeing any of that. It's just a bunch of garbage, and that means everybody else is playing a bunch of garbage too. So, you know, we need to have the best garbage to win. It's relative even in draft. Picked up a Simic Key Rune here. Unlikely to play it, but I'll keep it unhidden for now. It's not a creature. You know, it doesn't enter the battlefield and trigger evolve, so it just doesn't really hit our radar. All right, let's see what we can pick up in this pack. Well, there's a Breeding Pool and another Slaughterhorn. Again, no evolve, and I'm going to take the Breeding Pool because that's kind of my rule, is that I don't pass these things. I told you guys that before, and I think it serves me well. Like, it's a little awkward sometimes to have to pass some decent stuff, but I really do feel like it's probably a better play long term for me to just keep picking these things up. All right, so this next pack, let's see what it has. Well, it has some good cards in it at least, although not really for us. It's got, I'm going to label off the good ones. It's got Binding, Hands of Binding, Greenside Watcher, Devour Flesh, Balustrade Spy, Ivyling Denizen, Death's Approach, Sage's Row Denizen, Cinderella. It's got Orzhov Charm, Gift of Orzhova, and Kingpin's Pet. Those are all playable good cards. Of course, none of them are particularly good for this deck, but I think I'm going to go with the Ivyling Denizen here. I think it's the best one for the deck, either that or Sage's Row, but I'm gonna pick up an Ivyling here. All right, now we get a little something going. There's really a premium card for the deck with an Experiment 1. There's also a Pit Fight that we'd like for the deck as well, but Experiment 1's great. All right, well, this is an interesting one because you'd think that this is a bomb or something in the deck, right? It's on colors. It has a powerful effect. It's actually really kind of bad for the deck. It's just really tough to just not play anything on turn 5 and get that attack, and you really want to be dropping a Snapjaw or something along those lines to evolve your team and then attack. That said, otherwise I'm taking a Metropolis Sprite here, and I'm not that interested in that, so I am going to take Mystic Genesis. Also, I consider this a bit of a strikeout home run card. Sometimes it's just the best card that you play during the course of a game, and sometimes you don't even get a chance to play it, or your opponent deftly plays around it, or you misplay and don't get to play it. So, but I kind of like that when my deck is a little bit mediocre like this. All right, so there's a Shamble Shark. We'll take that. And there's one of the best cards. Now, this is an interesting one that I'm glad I have this decision to make. So we have a really, really hard choice here because Simic Charm is one of the best cards, I think, in the set for Limited. I think it's just amazing. And in Simic, it is absolutely fantastic. It does everything that you want it to. But we have another Shamble Shark here. So where does this line come in? Because I'll generally prioritize the cheap Evolve guys over anything. That said, I will usually take Simic Charm over anything. In this case, I think I'm going to take the Shamble Shark because we're sitting at only 8 creatures and we really need a lot more. And another Shamble Shark is great. All right, sweet. Now it's flowing a little better. There's an Elusive Krasis and a Drakewing Krasis. I'm going to take Elusive Krasis. I'll basically take any of the playable Evolve guys over any non-Evolve guy for the most part. All right, so this is coming together here. Now, this doesn't do anything, this pack. I'm going to take Millennial Gargoyle, but we probably won't even run it. Like, it just doesn't do anything. None of these cards do anything either. I'll take Anemones, but I don't really want to run them. And, yeah, it looks like black is wide open, but Hands of Binding is pretty good in the deck, so we're going to take it. So the deck's coming around, but one of the things about this deck is that you really do want somewhere around, like, 20 creatures. Like, you actually want to get up to near 20, which is kind of insane. And we're not even close. Like, cards like this and stuff, they're pretty bad here. So, if this third pack is really kind to us, which it may be, I don't know, I don't have a great feel for that. I mean, we didn't see a whole lot of Simic, but there just really wasn't that much stuff going around anyway in pack 1. If it's really kind to us, then I think we're going to have a pretty sweet deck. If it's not, we're going to be scraping a bit. Yes, you may join. Well, sure, we'll take that. We're not going to play it. Yeah, take another one of these guys. Take one of these, which again is a card I don't want to run, but at this point we're going to have to start looking at other options. We've got 18 playables here, but like Millennial Gargoyle, Last Thoughts, Death Cult Rogue, even Agoraphobia. Like, these are cards that I'm not looking to run. These aren't like the good stuff, you know. All right, let's see what we pick up here. Sigh. More nothing, basically. A Night Veil Spectre, which is going to be really hard to cast in our deck, as it's going to basically just be triple blue. It's a good card, but I wouldn't say it's really worth it. Scab Clan Charger is kind of underrated for this deck. It's really, really good in the deck. The 4 toughness tends to evolve these guys, and ostensibly the 1-drops that you're supposed to have. We haven't seen a Cloudfin Raptor yet, but if we did, we would have them here. And they'll usually evolve them up on turn 4, and that's really good. Sapphire Drake's a sweet finisher, too. Especially if you get some adaptive Snapjaws, which we strangely haven't seen yet. I'm going to take this Scab Clan Charger, though. Yeah, I think it's going to be the best for the deck. So I'm going to take it. These next couple of packs are going to be important. All right. Now we get shipped the goods. That's nice. Now, so there's a Simic Manipulator. That's an easy pick. That's exactly what we're going to take here. It's exactly what we want. It's a bomb, and it's fantastic. So that's easy. A couple other cards in here worth noting, though. There's an Urban Evolution, which I think is my favorite card. It might be, it's either that or Simic Charm for my favorite card in the set. I just love this card, and oh my, when I resolve this card, I feel so powerful. The problem is it doesn't actually fit in Simic, which is weird because you'd think it did, but it actually doesn't. You really need to play a creature on turn 5, and doing this, yeah, I can set up some late game stuff, and I've certainly run it, like in this deck it would make the cut, but in a really good Simic deck it doesn't, which is awkward and bad. Dracewing Krasis, the other one that I wanted to mention, but it's just not on the same power level as Manipulator, so we just take it. That's a great sign for us, though. Means the guy on our right is not in Simic, because he would slam this thing. He's not in blue or Simic, so that's really nice. And hopefully, so he's not filtering out stuff for us, and hopefully we can pick up a few more sweet cards. Okay, so there's a Sagebro Denizen and a Dracewing Krasis. This isn't close. The Dracewing Krasis is way better. There's also a Biomass Mutation, though, which is a rare, and it looks kind of flashy and cool. It's okay. I've ran it in quite a few of these decks, and it's pretty good. It interacts well with the counters that you get on your creatures. Remember, it turns them into, like, if you pay 5, it turns all your dudes into 3/3s, but if they have counters, then that still pumps them, so that's pretty cool. And it can be kind of an overrun-like finisher, especially at instant speed. That said, I still prioritize creatures over it, so I'm going to slam this Krasis here. And there's another Shamble Shark. So while we haven't picked up the 1-drops that we wanted, our 2-drop slot is getting very solid here, and I like that a lot. All right, is there anything for us in this pack? Not really. There's a Burst of Strength, which is it's fine. Like, whatever. I've ran it and been okay with it. There's a Zertos Swine, which if we had any ability to splash, we might. Although we're actually getting pretty close to playables here. Oh, no, I shouldn't say that too quickly, should I? We don't need all of these. Let's say I cut this one. I cut this guy. I cut this, and I cut this. So this is 17 playables, so we're still 6 away, and we're not going to get there. So we're going to have to play some of those mediocre cards. That's okay. But so what am I taking out of this pack? This. I guess I'll take this one. Like I said, it's not the worst. It's just not really good. I think I just want the second Ivy Lane Denizen here. Like, sure, Greenside Watcher is okay, but unfortunately it doesn't evolve Shamble Shark. And, that would be nice. This is where I wish I had that Metropolis Sprite, because that does evolve Shamble Shark, which is really nice. No playables. Fantastic. We'll take a Dimir Guildgate just in case. All right, this is a nice gift. We got a Rapid Hybridization. That's a really nice little pickup. It's a way to interact with our opponent's bombs, which is really, really important. Because remember, look at our deck. We're blue-green. Like, we're not killing creatures, you know? That isn't something that we can do. We don't have hard removal. So we get rapid hybridization as a proxy for it, and it really works well in the deck. All right, well, get in there, buddy. This is really funny because, well, I shouldn't. Let's see, it's going to be Friday when this goes up. Yeah, you guys will have to check it out later. But I talked about these two cards recently, and you can figure out what that means. And both of these are cards that I don't recommend playing in the deck, even though they're ostensibly powerful cards. But yeah, man, when you get short on playables, these make the cut really easily. Sure. All right, well, a Simic Guildgate's fine, though. Especially because we don't have that many 1-drops. All right, so this is certainly not an ideal build for this deck, but it's okay. Bioshift's unfortunately bad. We got a little gift here with the Simic Manipulator, so that was really nice. We got 4 Shamble Sharks, which I'm pretty excited about. We have some powerful, if high variance cards at the top that can actually push us over the top in a deck that needs the push, which this one does. And yeah, they came out okay. The thing that we didn't get, and I don't think we saw a single one of, at least not that I remember, is Cloudfin Raptor. Like, that's really the #1 card in the deck, and we just have 0 of them, so that's kind of bad. The one thing I wanted to say about hybridization as well is that, you know, we can target our own guy. Like, you can go, like, turn 2 Shamble Shark, turn 3 Shamble Shark, and then, like, turn 4 play this guy, and then evolve them, and then, like, attack, and then hybridize this guy, and then re-evolve them again. And you know, you can do some pretty sweet tricks like that. Oop, get out of there. Get in there. I don't think I'm going to play that one, but I might. 2 Leyline Phantoms is kind of sketchy. I really like just playing 1, but again, no Snapjaws either. It's just weird. This draft was weird. Crace Eye, Pit Fights, Slaughterhorns, Crocs, Experiment 1 for sure, these 2 Denizens, and this Charger. So these are the cards that we're for sure playing, and then we have to make decisions on the rest. We've only got 15 creatures here, which is pretty low. So I think I'm going to have to run this Death Cult Rogue, which is certainly not ideal, but so it goes. And I have to decide on one other card. Last Thoughts doesn't seem very good in this deck. We've got this guy to put it on, this guy to put it on, and this guy to put it on. Our other dudes aren't really good at carrying Last Thought, so it's not really what I want to do, especially when we're going to play Urban Evolution over it anyway, which I like a lot better. I think I'm just going to run this Agoraphobia here. I've ran Force Adaptation recently a couple times out of necessity, and I wasn't as crushed with it as I thought I would be. Like, I put it on a relatively meaningless creature, you know, like something like a turn 2 Greenside Watcher, and they play like a 3/3 or whatever, and then you play Force Adaptation on it, and you're like, you know, if I get 2 for 1 here, it sucks, but like at least he's using his removal on my crappy guy instead of the thing that I'm going to cast, you know, next turn, like this guy or whatever. So, all right. This deck actually came out okay. Think that's right. Blue. Let's take a look here. So, 17 blue. What are these, white? Oh, I see the black. Or do I? What am I missing here? Am I reading this wrong? Colored mana symbols on card 3, white? Is this talking about my whole deck? Maybe I'm just dumb. Maybe it's talking about up here too or something. Yeah, anyway, whatever. But anyway, it looks like we've got a relatively even split, but slightly tilted towards blue, so I'm going to run a few more islands. Now we've got a Breeding Pool and a Simic Guildgate to put in, so I'm just going to do it this way because that makes the most sense. All right. We could run Millennial Gargoyle. Is there a card we'd rather run that over? Maybe. Maybe this. Maybe we do that. Yeah, I think I like that a little better. All right, let's do that. And we'll submit, and we'll see what this thing can do. Like I said, I think this is like a mid-level Simic deck. Like, it certainly doesn't have the pieces that you really hope, but it has some pretty good stuff in it, and I think it can maybe work. So let's give it a shot.